Hey there, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. Our family is almost at the end of the ground beef in our freezer, and I just went to the store to price it out, and holy smokes, it has gotten very expensive. And so I thought this would be a great time for our family to experiment with some meatball alternatives. And I will tell you, my family wasn't very excited when I told them about this. So what I decided is I'm gonna make 3 different alternatives to ground beef meatballs, and then I'll have them taste test all of these meatballs at lunch, and I will share the results with you at the end of this video. And then I'll also do just a little bit of a cost comparison so you can see how much cheaper it is to do some of these other meatballs as opposed to ground beef. You know me, I like to get right to it, so let's dive in and I will show you the 3 that we are going to try today. So I thought we could go ahead and ease into things with chicken meatballs. This recipe stuck out to me because it was very basic using pantry staples. It only cost about $4 in ingredients to make this recipe. I have actually never made chicken meatballs before, and one of the reasons is I just don't like handling raw chicken very much. And then the second is that I don't have a meat grinder, and I wanted to keep costs down, so I wanted to grind my own chicken. I went ahead and did some online research and discovered a food processor could work if you're careful not to over process it. So that's what I'm working on here, trying to make sure it's the right texture. From there, I put it in a bowl and I add an egg, get that all mixed up, and then I add breadcrumbs to that. I'm using panko breadcrumbs here. Once that is in there, I also add some olive oil, which I will spill on the counter here. And then it's time for seasonings. I do have a family member who's sensitive to garlic, but this was just a very small amount, so I went ahead and gave it a try. I also added some granulated onion, some salt, and pepper. So once I had it all mixed up, I was able to use my meatball scoop and get that placed on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. So this is what they're looking like after about 25-30 minutes in the oven, and I would like to go ahead and serve these with a sauce. I found this recipe on Budget Bites, I believe, and it was a sauce that went with a more complicated chicken meatball, so I figured I would kind of combine the simple sauce with the simple meatballs that I found, and we just served that over rice. Overall, the ratings were mixed. Some of us liked them, some of us didn't. I didn't love the texture, and so maybe if I had used actual ground chicken, it would have been better. I'm still playing it a little bit safe with these black bean balls because my family really likes the Southwest flavor profile, and this recipe uses about $5.84 of ingredients. I start by rinsing off the black beans and I let those drain. While I'm doing that, I am mincing some red onion to go in the black bean mixture. So I do use my, what is that called? Like a slap chopper. I don't use it very often, but it did a really great job at getting the onions really, really small. And then I also chop up some cilantro and some jalapeno as well. So now that the beans are drained, I'm going to mash those up, and it actually almost reminds me a little bit of cooked ground beef at this point. And now that the beans are mashed, I'm going to add the pepper, the cilantro, and the red onion to this mixture. And I'm going to go ahead and pre-mix that together before adding in 1 egg and some panko breadcrumbs. And before I get my hands dirty again, I'm going to set aside some extra breadcrumbs because the author of this recipe said you might need to add a few more breadcrumbs. And now I'm just adding a cup of Monterey Jack cheese and some taco seasoning. I'm also going to add some salt and pepper to this mixture as well. So now that this mixture is all blended together, I just set my attention to rolling these into balls. Since it's not raw chicken, I am more comfortable making these black bean balls a little more tidy by rolling them after I have scooped them. Now these black bean balls are looking great coming out of the oven. I thought it would be nice to have a little sauce to go with them. And so now it's time to just overfill my little ninja cup. I have some cream cheese in there, some cilantro, taco seasoning, some lime, sour cream as well. And it's getting pretty full at this point, but I still need to add jalapeno to this and a jar of green salsa. And I am determined to make all of this fit in this blender cup because when I put the blade in, I don't want it to spill all over the place. So I squash that down in the cup, everything blends up just fine. And then I also decide to serve this over rice as well. And this one was a solid second place for most people. We really liked the texture and the taste was also really good. I am the most nervous about these lentil balls because even though they are only $2.80 for this recipe, my family has never liked lentils. I have tried to make them in so many different ways because it is such a cost-effective protein, and my family just doesn't enjoy them. But I really want to give this a try. So while the lentils are boiling, I saute some onion, and then I drain and rinse the lentils. Then I just add the oats to the food processor and make it almost into like an oat flour. Then I add the lentils, the onion, Italian seasoning, some soy sauce, some tomato paste, and then also red wine vinegar. So then I try to get everything in the food processor blending, and it takes a little bit of coaxing with a spatula, but eventually I get it into a pretty good texture. At this point, things are looking promising. I'm still not sure if my family's going to like these, but we will get them scooped, put onto the cookie sheet, and then get them in the oven. So in full disclosure, I do leave these in the oven a little too long. I got distracted and they got a little bit toasty on the outside, but they were still really soft on the inside. And I was shocked at how good these tasted. Everybody liked them. They were a first place choice for myself and my daughter. My son said it was his second favorite, and we got a big thumbs up. He even just dipped them like chicken nuggets. He thought they were really good. So overall, taking cost and taste into account, the Southwest black bean balls were third place. The chicken meatballs were in a solid second place. And the lentil meatballs, the underdog of this story, ended up winning the gold. If you want to continue to follow along with my kitchen shenanigans as a mother of three who really doesn't like to cook very much, I'd love it if you could subscribe, and I will see you next time.